Good afternoon and welcome to Spectrum Television News at noon. I am coming to you live from Rio, the Akara State capital. Let's take a look at the headlines. Federal government opens application for 2026 PTDF funded overseas scholarship. INEC begins second phase of voter registration in Kebbi. In other news, President Trump departs for Davos again after switching to new plane. We'll bring you the details of these stories and more in a moment. It's the news at noon. We head now to the national scene where the federal government has opened applications for the 2026 Petroleum Technology Development Fund PTDF Overseas Scholarship Scheme. The announcement in a post on X by the Office of the Special Advisor to the President on social media, Dada Olusegun, said the program offers Nigerian postgraduate students the opportunity to study abroad. According to the post, successful applicants will pursue studies in the United Kingdom, Germany, France, and Malaysia under the fully funded scholarship scheme. Details published on the PTDF scholarship portal show that the scheme is open to MSc and PhD candidates in disciplines relevant to the oil and gas sector. The agency said the initiative is designed to strengthen local expertise in the energy sector, adding that benefits include full tuition, return air tickets, accommodation, living allowances, health insurance, and bench fees where applicable. Meanwhile, the federal government will cut down on borrowings and increase mobilization of foreign and domestic investment under a comprehensive strategy to accelerate economic growth. Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edu, spoke in an interview yesterday at the ongoing World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. He also said the government's fiscal strategy prioritizes revenue generation and sustainable financing. According to him, while Nigeria remains open to international capital markets, borrowing is no longer the first option, but rather the mobilization of domestic resources to fund development. He added that the government is implementing reforms to strengthen fiscal sustainability amid mounting global economic pressure. In the meantime, the federal government has inaugurated a book ranking and selection committee. It will introduce reforms to cap the number of approved textbooks per subject, ensure transparent and objective ranking, and protect learners and parents from exploitative practices. The committee, inaugurated in Abuja by Minister of Education Dr. Tunja Lausa, is expected to improve the quality and affordability of textbooks used in Nigerian schools. The committee is chaired by the Minister of State for Education, Professor Soiba Ahmed, with members drawn from key education agencies. The agencies include the National Educational Research and Development Council, NERDC, Universal Basic Education Commission, UBEC, the National Teachers Institute, and the National Senior Secondary Education Commission. Alausa explained that the government raised the committee to reform the current textbook approval process that has allowed poor quality materials, lack of standardization, and excessive financial burden on parents to persist.
Textbooks and instructional resources remain the backbone of classroom instruction, guiding what learners studies and how teachers deliver lessons and how curriculum objectives are translated into meaningful learning outcomes. This initiative that we're about to launch and inaugurate this committee aligns fully with the education transformation agenda of the federal government under the renewed up agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR, which prioritizes quality, assurance, system efficiency, accountability, equity, and value for money in public service.
We thank you for your foresight in setting up the committee in the first instance, and we also thank you for implementing the recommendation by the committee, which one of those recommendations is this committee. We thank you, and we also assure you of our dedication in terms of ensuring that both the students and the learners get the best from our system.
And our curriculum objectives are translated into meaningful learning outcomes. This initiative that we're about to launch and inaugurate this committee aligns fully with the educational transformation agenda of the federal government under the renewed agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR, which prioritizes quality assurance.
Now to electoral matters, where the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has warned the public to disregard a false article circulating online claiming the Commission has released the timetable for the 2027 general elections. In a statement posted via its official channels, INEC described the information as not authentic and should be disregarded in its entirety. The Commission urged Nigerians, political parties, civil society groups and all stakeholders to rely only on verified INEC channels for official updates. Meanwhile, INEC has commenced the distribution of permanent voter cards ahead of the February 21 area council elections in the Federal Capital Territory. Eligible voters are to collect their PVCs at their respective registration wards from January 22nd to January 26th between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. daily. Also, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) in Kebbi State has commenced the second phase of the continuous voter registration CVR exercise with a stakeholders meeting aimed at boosting public sensitization and participation. The meeting, held in Benin Kebbi, brought together key stakeholders to discuss strategies for ensuring that all eligible voters obtain their permanent voter cards ahead of the 2027 general elections. Speaking of the event, the resident electoral commissioner in the state, Abubakar Power Dambo, said the ongoing CVR phase was designed to give Nigerians aged 18 and above the opportunity to register and exercise their right to vote. He noted that the commission had intensified public enlightenment campaigns across radio, television, print media, and other communication platforms to encourage residents to participate in the exercise. On security, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Wadi Shaibu, has promised to continue to deploy personnel and operational resources to address security challenges on the plateau and other parts of the country. Shaibu gave the assurance during a courtesy visit to the Plateau State Governor Caleb Mutfwang as part of his operational and familiarization tour of army formations in the state. A statement by the Army spokesperson Colonel Apollonia Anele said the Army Chief reaffirmed the service's commitment to restoring lasting peace and security, noting that troops would continue to be professionally deployed to mitigate threats and protect lives and property. Shoaibu commended the Plateau State government for its consistent support to the Nigerian Army, particularly the Armored Corps, describing the state as a strategic partner and the home of the Armored Corps. We move now to Africa, where aid containing food supplies sent by Turkish Qatari Initiative has arrived in Port Sudan as the war in Sudan rages on. The Embassy of Qatar in Port Sudan, Abdullah Rashid Al-Munani, said 428 tons of humanitarian aid containing food, supplies and shelter materials were shipped. Reports say the war broke out in 2023 between the Sudanese army and paramilitary rapid support forces, and since then, many residents have been displaced. Meanwhile, the Commissioner for Humanitarian Aid in Sudan, Salawa Buniwa, said there are now 145,000 displaced families in El Obeid, the capital of the North Kordofan state. Another foreign scene, United States President Donald Trump has resumed his trip to the Davos Forum in Switzerland today after an electrical issue forced his presidential plane to return to its airbase. Trump said his entourage changed planes at Joint Base Andrews just outside Washington and took off again about 2.5 hours after his initial departure. The American president is on his way to the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, where he's expected to face off with European leaders over his bid to seize Greenland. White House said Air Force One had returned to the base yesterday out of an abundance of caution due to what officials described as a minor electrical issue. Still on the foreign scene, French President Emmanuel Macron has said that he preferred respect to bullies and the rule of law to brutality. Macron said this while addressing the World Economic Forum yesterday. The French leader's comments followed a threat by the US President Donald Trump earlier that levy a 200% tariff on French wine and champagne after the French premier declined an invitation to join Trump's International Board of Peace made up of world leaders. Reports say Macron is among those urging the EU to consider retaliatory options against US tariffs, including an anti-coercion tool nicknamed a trade bazooka. Still to come in the news. Nigerian Football Federation President Gusau debunks altercation with CAF Vice President Lecture. Stay tuned for details of this and more after this time out. Welcome back and thanks for staying tuned in now to the rest of the news stories. In the world of business, the federal government has disclosed plans to increase the contribution of Nigeria's livestock subsector to the nation's gross domestic product from $32 billion to over $74 billion within the next 10 years. The Minister of Livestock Development, Idi Mukhtar, disclosed this in Ilorin during a livestock stakeholders engagement organized by the Kwara State government, which brought together over 250 players across the livestock value chain. Represented by the event, by his special advisor, Mark Braham, the minister said the federal government was committed to repositioning the livestock sector as a major driver of food security, job creation, and economic growth. According to him, food security remains a critical component of national security, hence the decision of the federal government to place livestock development on the front burner. Still in business, the International Monetary Fund (IMF) has called on governments to rebuild fiscal capacity and keep public debt under control as spending pressure rises. In its 13-page World Economic Outlook update, the fund urged countries to pursue medium-term fiscal consolidation while maintaining prudent debt management. The report projected that Nigeria's economic growth would expand by 4.4% in 2026, up from 4.2% in 2025, before slowing slightly to 4.1% in 2027. This would place Africa's largest economy above the projected global growth of 3.3% and close to the sub-Saharan average of 4.6%. The IMF stressed the importance of broadening revenue bases, rationalizing expenditure, and improving efficiency, particularly by leveraging private investment. On our health news, the Nigerian Natural Medicine Development Agency (NMDA) says it has started creating a comprehensive national database of traditional medicine practitioners as part of efforts to standardize and strengthen the sector. The Director General of the NNMDA, Professor Martins Emeje, said this in an interview with newsmen in Abuja. Emeje spoke following his appointment as co-chair of the World Health Organization's Strategic and Technical Advisory Group on Traditional, Complementary and Integrative Medicine (STAC-TM) in December 2025. Speaking on how he intended to leverage the position to advance traditional medicine practice in Nigeria and Africa, Emeje said the agency had recognized the need to index traditional medicine practitioners in the country. Emeje maintained that about 80% of Nigerians, estimated at over 160 million people, relied on traditional medicine, particularly those in rural communities who lacked access to conventional health care, stressing that the initiative would bring sanity to the ecosystem, enhance credibility, and create more visibility for the country's natural medicine in the global space. Now to sports, where President of the Nigeria Football Federation (NFF), Ibrahim Gusau, has denied a report circulating in sections of the social media that he had a public spat with President of the Federation Royal Marocain de Football, Fawzi Lecture, during a CAF Executive Committee meeting in Morocco. The report alleged that Gusau engaged in an argument with Lecture, who is also the first Vice President of the Confederation of African Football (CAF), at a meeting that took place during the just concluded 2025 Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco. Gusau also denied making any comments with regards to the officiating of the semi-final between the Super Eagles and Morocco. Still in sports, William Troost-Ekong has completed a move to Qatar Stars League side Al Hilal SC. Al Ali signed the former Nigeria international from Saudi Arabia professional league outfit Al Kholoud. Troost-Ekong penned a contract with the Brigadier until June 2028. Al Ali announced the centre-back's arrival through a short message on their official social media page. Troost-Ekong made 49 appearances for Al Kholoud with 2 goals to his name. On entertainment news, popular Nigerian rapper Okafor Victor, professionally known as Mr. Real, has made a U-turn over his remarks about D'banj's Cream platform. Reports say D'banj had, during an interview in November 2025, claimed that his creative reality entertainment, art and music platform Cream is worth $3 billion. Reacting in a video on social media, Mr. Real, who stated that D'banj was just trying to package the Cream platform, accused him of failing to pay him an agreed $20 million ambassadorial deal with Cream. However, Mr. Real, in a recent video shared on his social media page, tendered on his social media page, tendered a public apology to D'banj for the remark. And that's all we have for you on this news bulletin. Do well to follow us on social media, subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, spectrumtvlive.ng. This has been Spectrum Television News at 12. I am Uyai Imam. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day.